cuarto y último obstáculo a la independencia económica es el más grande: dinero. Como que no ganan nada. Muchas personas sienten que el mercadeo en red no trabaja porque no ganaron dinero haciéndolo. De nuevo, esto generalmente no es porque no trabajaron, es porque sus esfuerzos no produjeron ingreso. Usted ya ha visto el poder del plan de compensación de Ambit, así que no me hace falta repetirlo. Basta con decir que a usted le pagan generosamente por reunir a un grupo de clientes y ayudar a otros a hacer lo mismo. Y al no tener que perder tiempo entrenándose o aprendiendo a vender o a convencer a otros a que cambien sus hábitos de consumo, su ingreso puede desarrollarse rápido. Así que si nunca ha tenido éxito en el mercadeo en red, lo animo a que pruebe a Ambit Energy. Somos distintos y esa distinción nos está haciendo una de las empresas de más rápido crecimiento en el país. Hable con la persona que compartió esto con usted y comience su negocio de Ambit hoy mismo. Sin importar la decisión que haga, le deseo mucho éxito en el futuro. Gracias por escuchar.
In my life, I had been through, not one, two, but three foreclosures, also 3 car repossessions. Had worked in corporate world and just not making any money. I mean, when I say corporate world, we were talking minimum wage though for them because there's no advancement opportunity for me. That's what started it with me. I'd been dabbling in networking for 7 years, and the most I'd ever made was $1,000 a month, and then just got lucky and got fortunate and fell into Steve Thompson on accident. He gave me a call and said, Chris, I found something that we really need to take a look at, and I need you to get to Dallas immediately and go meet with the co-founders of the company. And so I agreed to do that. So the first thing I did was actually called a friend of mine, Eddie Roughton, and I said, hey Eddie, I found something that we really need to take a look at and you need to get to Dallas. And so on your way to Dallas, can you stop by and pick me up? And I had to do that because I didn't have the $40 to even put gas in my car to get there. As soon as I got home, I made a few phone calls and to some people that still knew and trusted in me, and found a wonderful lady who just knew that this was the right thing for me to do, and she lent me the startup money to get started, and man, we're just grateful ever since that day. My initial goals were if I could just get to the point to where I can pay my bills on time. I mean, that was as simple as I had to keep it for myself. It was to get to the point to where I got no more late notices and no more disconnect notices. Just finally get to a freedom of paying things on time. That's where I started from.
One day I was sitting in my clinic and I got a call, actually from Chris, and he said he had an opportunity to show me that I really needed to take a look at. Well, at that point I was working 60 hours a week in nursing, and I told him I really wasn't interested because I didn't have any extra time. But actually it's what you get started. So I started 15 to 30 minutes a day, whatever I could invest in Ambit. And I would be on the phone inviting someone to look at the opportunity. And that's what I was doing in between breaks. I would take my dinner break at night at 9 o'clock so I could get on the national conference call and just listen to the opportunity, to the presentation. So what I set out to do was exactly what I learned in the training, that you just talk to a few people and talk to a few people and talk to a few people. So that's what I did. That's how I started. I just figured we'd make a few extra $100 a month. That was before I met Jerry Thompson and Chris Chambliss. After that, that's when I said on my way home, I'm going to retire from nursing. I'm going to fire not one boss, but both bosses that I have. I was making very good money. I was making a 6-figure income yearly through nursing, and that was a great career, and I loved what I was doing. I had to. I was working 60, 70 hours a week in nursing. But what I saw with the opportunity with Ambit was that I could do something different and over time produce an income where I could quit clocking in, clocking out, clocking in, clocking out, and actually buy back my time. And that's what happened. In 6 months, I was making more or as much money with Ambit in my spare time as I was in nursing, exchanging valuable hours of my life.
Looking back, you know, I never expected this. I just never did. You know, as hard as we had worked in a previous company to, you know, to make maybe $1,000 a month, and to know we were coming apart to be a part of the same style of concept, I never expected it to do the things that it's done. And now 20 months ago, this opportunity of Ambit Energy was brought to me, and we've gone from having to borrow the $400 to get started to February of '08, went and paid cash for a Corvette, and now July the 1st of '08, Debbie and I moved into this, you know, I don't even know what to call this, but just an absolute wonderful place to call home. You know, this I didn't dream of at first. This took me a while to stretch my vision to understand that this was going to come true.
When I did sign up with Ambit, I had to look at him to say, well, what do I do? And he actually became my mentor. And as I learned more about network marketing, and I learned the true Chris Atkinson. I learned deep down inside that he was a very sincere person, not just surface, but a very deep, deep inside, sincere person about other people being successful. Chris and I became best friends working Ambit Energy, and then from that into a wonderful relationship that we've fallen in love. So, I mean, you know, when you find a soulmate that you can work Ambit with, that's incredible right there. If someone had said to me this would happen, I would say, you're crazy. That will never happen. And it did. And it did. And I'm thankful. I'm very thankful it did.
When Debbie and I started this, you know, it was just as an acquaintance. As time went along, talking on the phone about business, you know, and that kind of led to a connection over time. And you know, I wouldn't trade any of this for the world today, and I sure wouldn't trade her for anything else either.
My sons are 26 and 30. I said, y'all have great personalities, you've got a lot of contacts, you can do Ambit. I talked about Ambit so much that finally they were like, well, what is Ambit? Tell us about it. And so I started telling them, and you know, they at first thought, oh, that's really not for me, not something that, you know, Mom's more outgoing and she can talk to people. We can't talk to people. But after they saw the growth that I've had and the success that I've had, they came around and said, Mom, well, what do we got to do this Ambit thing?
See, that's easy.
You're right, it's easy. They're actually senior consultants. They work the business together. They're out of Austin. That's not deregulated, but that's okay. I told them, you know, it didn't stop Brian McClure, Philip Eckhart, or Steve Thompson, and it's not going to stop you two.
You know, when I look back at times of my life when, you know, me and my son didn't even have a relationship. You know, we didn't have the time together that either one of us had ever wanted, and now, since Ambit Energy, we do. My son is an absolute soccer fanatic, loves to watch it, loves to go to games, and, you know, more importantly, loves to play it. Last summer, he took part in a soccer camp that was from the hours of 12 to 4 in the afternoon, and it was 20 kids in total, and I was the only parent that was ever in attendance. Just knowing in my heart that I was there for my son, I mean, that's something nobody can ever take away from me.
Hey, that's cheap.
I've had some understandings that there's nothing I can do by myself that will ever make anything happen. And it totally depends on the help of others. And, you know, but it's not them helping us. It totally is the other way around. It's us doing anything and everything that we can to help as many people that are willing. And I mean, that's what drives each of us every day, is to how many people can we go touch today and help change their lives. I mean, that's to us, that's what this is all about.
I know that I want to help a lot more people be successful. And I guess when I feel like I've helped enough people be successful, then that's my goal. I've reached my goal.
You know, when I started and I was battling foreclosure at that time, there was no way anybody could tell me that, you know, that anything is possible. But when people can come and see this home, you know, 5,000 square feet, 3 stories, on the prettiest water in this whole area, and they know the truth. They know that Debbie retired in 6 months. They know I had to borrow the $400 investment to get started, and this is in less than 2 years. When we put our noses to the grindstone and when we get to work, and we talk about that all the time, this is network marketing. It's not net, give it to me for free just because I signed on the dotted line. You know, this is network marketing. When we learn to work together, you know, then this is the type of stuff that's possible.
It's simple. You can make $200–300 a month if that's what you want. If you want to make $500 a month extra or $1,000 a month extra, you can do that. You might want to replace your total income that you're making right now at that job and more, and you can also do that. So there's no limits with Ambit Energy.
You know, 2 years ago, I had $6.46 to my name. That was just 2 years ago. And to be here, and it's a dream come true. And the neat thing is we haven't even gotten started yet. There's a lot of people still to help.